All right, hello Division 4 to math for page 165. As you can see, we're going to the next level once again, and you would probably recognize this form of multiplication. However, though, it's more about explaining the how, not just the how to do it, but the why, as we said yesterday. As you can see, I'm using this array, and you probably have used arrays in the younger grades. And what we have here is we're doing the multiplication question of 13 times 5. And what we're showing, of course, here is 13, and we were using these 10 frames or the 10, the base 10 blocks like we did yesterday. You have your 10 plus 3 because it's 13. So we basically have 5 groups of 13, right? And now, once again, you can count all the little cubes, but that would be very inefficient. And so basically what we're doing, we're breaking down the number 13, for example. So the number 13 actually has 2 parts to it, right? We have 3 ones and we have 1 10. Right? So if you have your 110 plus the 3, and that's what they're showing here. And that's where you have actually 2 smaller multiplication questions in there, right? So really, if you're going to come up here and you can have, where that equals 10. You can either have, so your 2 questions would be 3 times 5 and 10 times 5, right? Those are basically what it is done here. So sorry. You have your 3 ones and your 10. So you have 2 mini questions. And of course, you can do that a lot easier. We have 3 times 5 gives you 15. 10 times 5 gives you 50. And if you add it together, it gives you 65, right? Now, moving it down here, this is kind of what they've done here. So you multiply the ones, and what they did was 5 times 3 gives you 15. And then the 10s, like we said, there's 1 10. And so we got 10 times 5 gives you 50. And then if you add it together, you get your 65. But what they've done here, and this is what we're going to start doing. So this is always the ones, and the second is always the 10s. Now, as you can see, we'll go down, it'll be hundreds, thousands, and so forth. But right now we're just doing the ones and the 10s. So the only we have to do today is they've broken it down. So you've got your 31 times 5. We have 1 1 and 3 10s times 5. And you can see that. So you got 5 times 1. And you, of course, you'd put that in there like so. And of course, we know that this is the 10s, as I said up here. So this column, the second row will always have 1 0. So if there's not a 0 here, you've done something incorrectly, right? Because it's in the 10s column, it must have 1 0. Every 10 has a 0, right? So, and you can probably see scanning down here, this whole column, this whole second line, all have that starting 0 because it's the 10s column. Here, of course, are the ones up top here. So there wouldn't be a 0 unless, of course, you're multiplying by 0. And then all you do is you add, and of course, 5, 5, and 1. Let's do one more together, but I'm going to do it down here where they don't give you anything here. Okay, because these ones, they kind of walk you through, and then little by little they're doing less for you until you're down here. So down here, you can use this as your model, right? So right here, this first one is the same as 5 times 1, right? That's what I'm just following here. 5 times 1 happens to be the same as up here, but it's 5 times 1. And this is going to be not 5 times 7, but 5 times 70 because it's in the 10s column. Exactly. All right. So right away, you know what I could do? I could go ahead and preload that second line with zeros because I already know that's got a 0 there because it's in the 10s. But that's for another time. I wouldn't make that a healthy or a correct thing. I would work each question one at a time. All right. So as we go here, so we got 5 times 1 gives you 5. And we know this from yesterday's lesson. 5 times 7 gives you 35. Add the 0. Oh, it's already kind of done for us. And then, of course, you add, which gives you 355. All right, so give it a try, and it should fall into place for you. If not, we will be revisiting this over the next couple of days. All right, until next time.